I'm just holding this roll of wrapping paper because the thing is, folks, I had a lot of gifts I needed to wrap up this year. I mean, there was a lot. And let me tell you right now, I had to use up about maybe 2 rolls just for gifts. But for this instinct, I'm just glad I got barely enough for, well, whatever. I mean, obviously you folks can see how fucking neat I am when it comes to wrapping shit up and using wrapping paper in general. Comes in a nice little package, and all of a sudden, once you are wrapping stuff up, it ends up getting ruined. So, there you go with that. And speaking of wrapping up presents, I bet that's what Santa Claus is doing right now for all the kids out there who's got themselves a wish list, asking Santa Claus for an iPhone, a tablet, or some sort of electronic device. Better yet, if they want a real phone, they can get the fucking the Play School phone, one with the little smiley face on, or they can get themselves a little that little wheelbarrow or that little mower that has the marbles popping every time you move it. Get one of those toys now. That is a gift for Christmas to have. I personally think so. And for this instance, speaking of Christmas and elves and Santa Claus and all that stuff, Kurt Russell is busy in his office right now getting ready for the holidays, my friends. And let me tell you all right now about Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. The Christmas Chronicles 2 is a brand new picture that hit the Netflix scene with Kurt Russell reprising his role as Santa Claus, which is obviously the greatest thing that you can ever ask for, because for me, as someone who lost hope, but after seeing that Kurt Russell is Santa Claus, I'm now a Santa Claus true believer once again. And for this instinct, speaking of that, the plot is Kate is back with a brand new friend named Jack. She's not happy that her mother has a new boyfriend, and she feels jealous because her mother has been given more time and affection towards a new boyfriend than is paying attention to her kids. All of a sudden, she's now back with Santa Claus, again, played by Kurt Russell, and there's a troublemaker threatening to cancel Christmas. Now, this little troublemaker is a little character named Bells Nickel, who once was an elf and ended up becoming a human. After he became human, he ran away and hates Christmas for the rest of his life. So after his little departure and little scrap with Santa Claus many years ago, it's up to all of them to save Christmas and prevent Bells Nickel, to not ruin Christmas anymore. And for this instinct, folks, let me just tell you right now, from this particular movie from the first one up into this one, I was very, very surprised with how this particular movie turned out. Now, let's just talk about the positives for this particular instinct. Now, visually seeing this whole entire movie, the visual presentation of the city, the North Pole itself, the elves, and the whole cinematic CGI is a lot better and looks a lot more realistic, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's really beautiful, amazing visuals of what the North Pole looks like, and there was a lot of in-depth work putting into detail for the North Pole to look absolutely realistic. I really admire that about the movie. That was like one of the biggest things that I really had a big dig for when I was watching this, because it was just far, far superior. Also, another thing that was great was the characters. Now, other than seeing Kate again, there was a lot more development, not only with Kate and her past of her family history, but there was a nice little investment of this new character, Jack, of his little backstory, why his father's in a relationship with her mother. You learn about that, why their connection is strong, and why it's important for them to stick together and become friends, and learning more that Jack is also a true believer when it comes to Christmas as well. Also, another thing is, I love how this movie features and really puts in a nice role for Mrs. Claus, giving you a much more better development of who she is. Now, in the first movie, she did happen to have a small role in the first one. You just saw a little glimpse, but in this one, you see a lot more of her. You see the magic she does and the particular role of what she is able to do. So it is absolutely fascinating to me of the role that Mrs. Claus is able to portray, and it's just satisfying, and it really brings a lot of positivity. I forgot who was the actress who played as Mrs. Claus, but I really like the connection that her and Kurt Russell had, bouncing off of one another and really growing that connection. Now, the story. The story itself is a lot more suspenseful, heartfelt, and really has a driving action plot that really just grows a huge investment into seeing what'll happen next once hell broke loose. on the North Pole. Excuse me. Just seeing the teamwork between everyone showcased the true magic and belief in Christmas. The story had much more time and effort of a proper development. Again, not only showing the characters, but a nice little connection that happened in the film that was a very big surprise to me. Since there was one thing, if you haven't seen the first film, Kate mentions a lot about her father. Now, as for what happens here, with no spoilers for you folks to see this movie yourself, something happens in the film that relates to, that was a little correlation with that was just really touching, and I thought was just, you know, childhood is something that sticks with us for the rest of our lives, which is a proven given fact. So I really respect that a lot about this movie, that they really made a much more intriguing and investing story. Now, those are all my positives. Now, as for my negatives, the villain Belsnickel. Now, here's what I can say. Despite his backstory of how he is who he is, as a villain perspective, I'm not really a fan of his look and appeal. Plus, it was kind of hard to really take him serious as a villain. But again, as an individual with heart and a backstory, I was able to really fully understand and function and get a proper functioning of why Belsnickel is the way he is. So that is one thing I can really say about that. Also, the new song that was for Santa Claus wasn't as catchy, nor it was jingle jangle as the one in the first movie. So I was not really a fan of that particular song that was played. It just didn't really cut out with me. Now, overall, despite a few little things, I was very surprised on how intriguing and far more superior this particular film was compared to the first one. That was a bit of a cliche story, and how the characters came off was a little more cliche. This one had much more of a better developing story. Now, it's investing, it was beautiful, it was just better, and it had a lot more developing with its characters, seeing some both old and new, a nice little blend there. Much more realistic CGI with the elves, and a very intriguing driving point where the main focus was getting a star from Turkey in order to make sure Christmas will last, while trying to save the elves from a little bit of some blue dust that transpired from them. So there you go. All the cooperation, all the teamwork that was put into this movie was just absolutely intriguing. This was a very surprising sequel, much more superior over the first one in terms of its storytelling. Kurt Russell, obviously, the motherfucker steals the show, no doubt about it. So that being said, surprisingly, I'm actually giving this movie a 4 out of 5. I was very, very surprised with it. So with that being said, folks, that is going to have to do it for this little 3-part Christmas special. Folks, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and stay safe for the holidays. Enjoy it with the loved ones. And with that being said, grab yourself a bottle of a little bit of the bubbly, and which makes a nice holiday treat. Enjoy some gingerbread cookies. Enjoy some eggnog. Enjoy some Sprite. I got my bottle. Well, it's empty, but, you know, got my Sprite. Get ready for the holidays. Watch those holiday movies. Spend all the love you have with your friends and family. And with that being said, I'm going to get the fuck out of here.